It begins with the smell, not the scent of hunger, which has none, but of damp soil and spoiled roots. A wind sighs across the hills of western Ireland, brushing the thatched roofs of cottages long since surrendered to the moss. In the fields, where once the potato bloomed fat and waxy beneath the loam, there is only rot now, a black softness eating through what little is left. The blight came like a whispered curse, quiet at first, unalarming. But then the plants wept darkness, their leaves curled inward like fists. The coffin ships, they called them, packed with emaciated souls who traded one death for another. Keening in the twilight, ballads hummed to sleeping children with bellies that ached. Women stitched stories into cloth because paper could not be spared. Men carved prayers into sticks, buried them in the floorboards before marching to the poorhouse where names went to die. And still people loved. Still someone kissed a frostbitten cheek. Still a girl braided her sister's hair with fingers too thin for rings. Hope was not a fire, it was a flickering wick, guarded fiercely by those who had nothing else. They sailed to Boston, to Quebec, to anywhere that wasn't Ireland. It tasted like boiled nettles and felt like frost in your marrow. To survive the famine was to witness not just death, but the erosion of dignity, to see your village emptied, your priest silent, your landlord smiling behind a ledger. Survival meant burying your mother and still walking the 12 miles to the workhouse. It meant trading your name for a ticket to Liverpool. It meant forgetting who you were so you might one day remember how to eat. But cholera came too, and despair. A girl who'd never worn shoes was handed new boots and wept, not for joy, but because she knew she would never wear them long. On the docks, names were changed or lost. Irish became poor, drunk, plague. The language shriveled. Gaelic was shame. Mothers taught their children to speak English before they taught them to pray, because prayer did not feed you. What was once the people's life turned inward on them. And so began the slow unraveling. In County Mayo, a girl no older than 10 digs with her hands because the shovel was sold. She lifts a soft, foul bulb from the earth and bites it raw. But the ghosts lingered. In every crumbling cottage, in every wild field, they are there still, under the moss, beneath the stone, and the names no longer spoken, and the lullabies that sound more like mourning than music. The famine carved itself into the Irish soul, not like a scar, but like a root, deep, quiet, unseen. And now, in the hush of sleep, we remember not the statistics, not the politics, but the breath of it, the silence it left, the dignity it tried to take, and the ones who, despite everything, refused to give it. Around her, the crows do not wait for the dead. They walk among the living. The famine was not a single event, but a season that never ended. From 1845 to 1852, the sky seemed always gray. The rains came sideways. The peat smoke from hearths thinned, then vanished. People left their homes not because they were strong, but because they were already empty. A mother wraps her child in the last wool shawl, fingers shaking. The door swings behind her, never to be opened again. By 1847, Black 47, they called it, the dead outnumbered the wheat stalks. The relief stations were miles away, but hope was farther. Soup kitchens gave out thin liquid and sermons. Some would convert for bread. Others starved with rosaries clutched between blue lips. Faith was a thread fraying in the cold. English landlords raised their rents, even as ribs showed through skin. Tenants unable to pay were evicted, not just turned out, but stripped, shamed, burned from their cottages with torches like witches in old tales. Children slept in ditches. Mothers lay across them, trying to keep their hearts beating through the night. In some villages, coffins were reused. In others, there was no time. They buried them in linen, or not at all. A priest said last rites to a field full of open mouths. The rain fell. No one lifted their heads. Ships waited in the harbors, not rescue, but exile. Yet through it all, the rot, the ruin, the betrayal, there was song, not joyous, but haunting. The question, could you survive, misses something. Survival was not heroic. It was slow. It was humiliating. And when it was over, if it ever truly ended, the survivors stood among the ruins of their language, their land, their lineage, and tried to rebuild.